Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Azhar bin Mus Asman. Matrix number 2015035. Okay, today I will present our assignment about the postmodernism. Okay, I will present our part about the introduction of the postmodernism. Okay, basically, postmodernism is a philosophy and literary theory movement of the late 20th century that typically challenges the fundamental concept of Western philosophy in the modern period. This concept is understood through the concept of relativism, subjectivism, reason, suspicion. The basis of the concept is covered with skepticism as well as critical thinking. The idea was a healthy criticism of the rationality that came up in the Enlightenment.
Assalamualaikum. For the characteristic of postmodernism, firstly is skepticism. Skepticism can be explained as the substance and inherent existence of postmodernism structure. It is also the truth as a subjective matter and to trace the lies and prejudice imbued inside worldview. All worldview need to be deconstructed and reevaluated. They also claim that things will change the society in a better way are science and technology. Postmodernism origins are thus located in the intellectual current of anti-dualistic. The meaning of anti-dualistic is a remarkable equilibrium between the two views of monism and dualism can be seen as striking since it does not say that there is one thing or two things. It says that there are not two things or that truth is other than two. It also recognizes multiple viewpoints rather than dispute and the coexistence of pluralism rather than a dualistic approach. What is questioning text? It is the refusal of authority or objective of the text either historical or literature in revealing the order intent. The information gained by the text will be partly true according to a particular group but not to others. It causes uncertainty and no authority know what really happened. They also reconsider whether the text happened or as it's not relevant to them. Postmodernism argues that language forms the thinking of individuals and that without language there can be no thought. The language actually constructs reality for them. In the 20th century, the linguistic turn was a major development in Western philosophy. The most significant aspect is the emphasis of philosophy and the other humanity mainly on the relationship between language, language user, and the environment. For kind of postmodernism, firstly is extreme self-reflective. Postmodernism tend to take this even further than modernists. In postmodernism architecture, this effect is accomplished by keeping recognizable internal structure and engineering component. As an example, Frank Gehry is a postmodern, experimenting with structure form, but settling on structural form lead to the nickname of the building, Fred and Ginger, since the true structure clearly like a male and female dancing together around the corner. Secondly is irony and parody. The postmodernism has a tendency, according to the former argument, to be playful or parody. Pop culture and media advertisement abound will move outside of mimetic representation entirely in order to mock themselves. These elements have been discussed in Linda Hutchin's article about postmodernism become a parody. Lastly is secondary orality. The postmodernism society has seen a drastic reversal in this trend as more and more people start relying on oral media such as television, radio and other. But the postmodernism still very much rely on print to create their media outlet. So that's why they get the term of secondary orality. However, it only occurs to professional which is the well educated class that has access to full print and computer literacy. So, that's all for characteristic and kind of postmodernism.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Abdullah Yakimi. Now I will continue with the causes of postmodernism. Postmodernism is actually a reaction or rejection to the intellectual assumption and values of modernism. Their doctrines are the straightforward denial of general philosophical viewpoints during the 8th century Enlightenment. They also believe that we are moving into a new era where the concept of modernity became confusing and misleading. In addition, the Second World War gave a big impact to the rise of postmodernism. People began to reflect the society and human nature and are also less confident in their own judgment. So, what is the difference between postmodernism and modernism? First, modernism believes in grand theory, which is combining explanation in history, science, and culture to represent all knowledge and explain everything, while postmodernism rejects the totalizing of these theories. Second, modernism believes that there is an abstract truth of life. It is contrast with postmodernism, which they believe there is no universal truth in this life. Third, modernism have faith in depth such as meaning, values, content, and the signified, rather than surface such as appearance, the superficial, and the signifier. However, postmodernism gave attention to on superficial appearance, playing on the surface, and show no concern into depth of subjects. Alright, the other cause of postmodernism is influence of philosophers such as Wittgenstein in criticizing modern philosophy and has a skeptical view of the optimistic mentality of modernism and the intellectual era. During this time, many sociologists started to believe that the concept of modernism cannot be used anymore. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh to all of you. So, my name given by my mother and my father is Ni Ahmad Afham bin Wahab. You can call me Afham. So, my part is the last part, which is the conclusion. So, let's go through it. So, the summary of the postmodernism that we can see to this is it true that postmodernism is indefinable. However, the destabilized other concepts such as presence, identification, historical development, epistemic certainty, and the unit of meaning. It can be defined as a collection of essential strategy and rhetorical practice using concepts such as distinction, repetition, trace, simulacrum, and hyperreality. And next, it will rather the distinction lie within the modernity itself, and in another sense, postmodernism is a continuation of the modern thought. And the last one, as postmodernism incorporate aesthetic playfulness and subversion into science and politics, he reject it rather than self-transformation in the name of modernity heading toward completion. So, in the solution, based on the solution and suggestion, so we can see that it is possible to embrace this skepticism without having to embrace postmodernism and abandon realism. That's why all postmodernism are skeptical of claim about reality. Not all skeptics are postmodernists. So for the last part is Islamization, or we call the Islamic point of view. So number one, the modernist depends on rationality as the basic of certainty is challenged by postmodernism, and much as modernism question the conventional or pre-modern depends on revelation. And number two, contemporary Muslim thinkers characteristically challenge conventional interpretation of religions teaching using postmodernist theories and method of interpretation, or we call it hermeneutics. So what is the hermeneutic? The hermeneutic, this is hermeneutic is also remembered by the framework of Islamic legal reasoning known as ijtihad. So I think that's all from us. Thank you.